Uncle Steve's got first blood. Good morning, everybody. It's Friday. That means firearms stories. Cameron, how you doing this morning, brother?
I'm good. I'm doing better than the people that work at the IRS.
You know, I'm glad you mentioned that. It is Firearms Friday, but just because you love to see it. Doge visits the IRS, putting staffers on edge. And I got this article out of CNN. Let's touch on this one just a little bit. And okay, so this one doesn't have so much to do with Firearms Friday, but you remember the time a little over a year ago when the government bought so much green tip 5.56 ball ammunition that it created a shortage in the market because they were arming the enforcement branch, the enforcement wings of things like the IRS?
Yes, I do remember. It was, let's just say the optics were, well, they were being optics.
Yeah. In fact, some of that ammunition went to fill the enforcement branches of other government agencies. Like, did you know the FDA has
So now
an armed
RFK Jr.'s
enforcement
armed.
branch? Yeah. The FDA has an armed enforcement branch just in case you wanted to buy some raw milk. Phil Labonte was talking about that. I think it was last night or the night before. She's like, "Yep," and I mean he was getting passionate about it. Like, yeah, get him, because why the hell does the FDA need stormtroopers, right? So I can't wait to see Doge walk into the ATF.
Well, as long as they don't bring any dogs with them, they should be okay.
God, that's extra funny because it is Doge.
Right. Right. And you know what I'm picturing is now that RFK Jr. has been confirmed. Look, guys, you're gonna take the red food dye out of this food, or you know what's gonna happen to you, and it's not gonna be pretty. Like,
yeah. Uncle Steve points out the EPA all carry. Right? Why the hell is the EPA armed? Right? Oh, because they need a gun to steal your land.
well, in and of itself, like I'm okay with everybody carrying everywhere all the time, including government employees. Of course, the problem is, it's rules for thee, but not for me.
Correct.
Like that's the problem. And when you stack that on top of, it is a reasonable question. You're like, well, hold on. Why I know why a cop needs to carry a gun. I even understand why, like a wildlife ranger needs to carry a gun. But why does a guy that works for the EPA need to carry a gun? That's a little...
If the government thinks that they need to arm EPA agents, FDA agents, IRS agents, why the hell isn't every soldier in uniform wearing his sidearm as part of his daily duty uniform?
Yeah, why is the Beretta 9mm not part of the uniform?
Right. It's like, hey, baby, are you ready for work? Yeah, I'm dressed. I'm ready to go. Where's your gun? Oh no, I don't need a gun. I'm in the Army. What?
Right. I literally have to wear a uniform to work that paints a target on my back. Like, but a gun? What? No, not at all.
Oh, but God forbid you be in uniform and let your NCO catch you without a ballpoint pen in your pocket.
Right. Well, the pen is mightier than the sword, Chris.
Oh, you haven't done enough push-ups today, have you, Private? Oh, Jesus. But never, Sergeant. Never. Oh. But yeah, so Doge has gone into the IRS. I can't wait to see what comes out of that. I can't wait to see him go into the ATF. And I don't know if you saw it or not, Cameron, but Doug Collins is the new head of the VA, and there's been a bunch of posting out there about how Doge is going to go into the VA and cut off our veterans benefits, and all our veterans are going to be homeless. Like, calm down, son. Calm down.
I thought the VA already did that. It doesn't need help.
Yeah, no shit. But Doug Collins put out a video, and he said, yes, we've got some Doge guys in here. Yes, they're looking at the books. Yes, we're shutting down some crazy crap that nobody should have been spending money on. Because guess what? There's stuff we're supposed to be spending money on that we're not. So no. The disabled veterans are still going to get their disability pay, their disability pensions, and we've got a big problem. Like one of the VA had a program they put out for community care services years and years ago, and it is notoriously inefficient. It's awful at getting the community care services assigned and correlated.
So it's par for the course.
Well, for example, I'm a disabled veteran, got a bunch of serious back injuries. It took me a year from the first time I applied for the community care services to be able to actually get to see a chiropractor, which I've been seeing for about 2 months now, and it's dramatically improved my my mobility and my health, my ability to just get up and move around. But it was supposed to be a thing where, hey, I need medical care, and the VA doesn't have the care I need. And I don't want to spend too much time on this, but to be clear, when I say the VA doesn't have the care I need, there are 2 VA hospitals that are almost identically equidistant from my location. I had to pick one. Both of them have 3 chiropractors full-time on staff that are booked out for the next 2 years. Right. So when you talk about the community care thing, what it's supposed to be is, okay, you're a veteran, you need services. The VA cannot accommodate you. And so we will pay a civilian doctor to provide that care. Sergeant Major says he's planning to take Tai Chi from the VA. Dad, I'd like to hear more about that. If you're not just cracking a joke, and I don't think you are. I'd actually like to hear more about that. Hear what you've found out about that. That might be really interesting.
Well, okay. So we talked about this before. The VA paying private doctors, like okay, you need chiropractors, so we're going to pay chiropractors to do the job the VA needs doing. That's fine. I've said before specifically that the VA should spend money on doctors and nurses and counselors and specialists. That's what the VA should spend its money on. But instead, so much of it goes to bureaucrats and compliance officers that actually make the care worse. So not only are we spending money on things that don't make soldiers better, you don't need more people to help you push paperwork. You need more people to hold group therapy sessions, for example, right? But no, we're going to spend the money on the bureaucrats, and so is Doge going to go in and probably cut the shit out of the VA budget? Yes. And is it likely to even disrupt, at least temporarily, the care that certain people get? Also, yes. But it's because there's so much bullshit that's going to have to get cut through. And then they're going to turn around and go, maybe we should work with more private contractors. And it's like, hey, maybe you should. And maybe each VA hospital should have different staffing requirements. If you happen to have a lot of soldiers that come to your hospital that have like knee problems and stuff like that, well, maybe you need more orthopedic doctors, right? Maybe you need more people that focus on the feet and legs. Whereas in a different part of the country, you might have an entirely different subset of soldiers that frequent that hospital. But as it stands now, the fact that basically you've got a bunch of loser uh, paper pushers that staff the VA, that's the problem. That's what's going to get cut. It's going to look bad. This is actually going to be one of the things that is the most dangerous optically for the Trump administration and for Doge, because they're going to be able to say, "Oh my God, they're cutting money from the VA budget. These bastards! I thought the Republicans loved soldiers," and they do, and they want them to get the best care possible, and they're currently not getting it. And I think it was Brett Weinstein that said, "I'm so sick of hearing don't throw the baby out with the bathwater." How long's it been since we've checked to see if the baby's even still in the bath? And I'm like, yeah.
Yeah. Rook, so Savage says, I'm a veteran. I've never once looked to the VA for medical treatment, not once ever. Let me say this about that. Savage, here's my honest advice to you on that. If you haven't gone in and filed to get a rating, do it. Even if you only end up with like a 30% rating, then you're entitled to treatment and service through the VA. And even if the actual VA hospital near you is trash, I'm gonna tell you something, brother.
Which it probably will be.
And no, there's even the VA in Atlanta, the Atlanta VA on Claremont and Decatur is actually a solid hospital. The problem is bureaucratic bloat, administrative bloat. They're slow to get things done. You might not be able to get an appointment for non-life threatening, non-emergency stuff. You might be waiting around for a year to get your sleep check for your sleep apnea or GERD's medication, and you might fill in a gap there. But brother, last year I spent a week in a hospital with severe pneumonia. Went in through the emergency room. That was a civilian hospital, and then I referred it to the VA. The VA covered that bill. So even if you're not actually using the VA hospital, if you get smart on the way the VA works, I've also used the minute clinics for lesser complaints, just civilian, doc in a box, minute clinic, whatever, the little urgent clinics, and it covers that too, 100%. So like a week in the hospital, that without insurance, that was $50,000 or $60,000 that I certainly would not have been happy about paying if it had come down to it, which it did not. So at least get in there, file your paperwork, get your rating, because your veteran status also makes it difficult, if not impossible in some cases, to have private health insurance. So, is it perfect? Hell no. But I've had several surgeries in VA hospitals that went swimmingly well, and the only complaint I have about those is that they took a while to get on the schedule. The VA is not a bad thing, but it does need some love. It needs, like most government things, it needs to get rid of a shitload of administrators.
Anyhow,
wow, I really did not intend to get spun off on that for as long as we did, but
anyhow, just to put a button on it, the thing that I'm enjoying the most is hot chick red pill Twitter, keeps reposting the story about Doge visiting the IRS, and they're all posting that quote from Cameron Diaz where she's like, "I'm going to be wet for hours," and I'm like,
so this will be the last thing I say on this. Waller says, "Hey Savage, I used to be the same mindset. Get your rating. It has changed my life." Let me add one more thing to that, because this is something I struggled with as well. Getting your rating, there's some money involved, right? You start getting paid a disability pension, and I know, white guy, conservative guy, please believe me, I fought with myself over this question for a long time after I first got out. Like, I can still get a job. Okay, so I'm not the young buck that I used to be, but I can still get a job. I can still work. I don't need a welfare program. And Savage, I want you to understand this. The disability, the benefits, the pay, the everything that's involved with that is part of the compensation package that you negotiated with the government when you enlisted. When you signed on that dotted line, that contract included Uncle Sam having if I break it, I'll buy it clause. He broke it. Make him pay for it.
Yeah. So, so yeah, that's, hey, Be Controversial sent us a thing. Would you like to,
you're getting ahead of me. I got one more I want to hit first, because
okay.
anytime there's firearms related news, I want to hit that first. And you and I already covered this, Cameron. Trump's new executive order on gun laws and regulations. We already covered this, but we didn't cover it on Firearms Friday. Well, actually we did, but we covered it at like 9:00 in the evening on a Firearms Friday.
Yeah. Thank you, Xander Mack at TPS Report.
But yeah, we did that with the TPS report with Alex. And we missed you, Danny. We still miss you, Danny. Not you, Danny, other Danny. But we love you too, Pitt. Hoorah. But in a significant move regarding firearms rights, the president has signed an executive order aimed at reviewing federal gun regulations and policies from the past 4 years. So I'm going to tell you guys, we did this show with Alex. You can catch it on Rumble or X. You can find it on anywhere that we stream and anywhere that TPS Report live streams. I would take it as a great kindness if you would at least start the video, or even better, let it run in the background all the way through on our channel and on TPS Report's channel, and go watch that. We went into this in great detail. I think we spent an hour and a half on this, but the long and the short of it is that what the order says, it doesn't actually change anything yet. It's an executive order to begin an active review of all of the individual gun laws, essentially. And it's basically sieve them and sort them and interrogate the nature of those laws against the question of whether or not they're an undue infringement against the Second Amendment. Now, just so we're clear, the answer to that question, right? The answer to the question, is this gun law, whichever one it is, an infringement of the right to keep and bear arms? Yes. I don't care what the law is. If it is a gun law, it is an illegal piece of legislation. If it is a gun law, if it is a law which in any way mentions the periphery of firearms ownership or carry, or even use. Because remember, killing somebody with a gun is not illegal. Murdering someone with a gun is illegal. And that is a very important distinction, because it is not the with a gun that's a problem. It's the murder part that's a problem. It's not a different crime to murder somebody with a gun than it is to murder somebody with a knife or an exploding propane tank or a Molotov cocktail. Murder is murder is murder. Right? So the answer to the question, is this gun law a violation of your oath of office for you to have even brought it up or signed it, let alone voted on it? The answer to that question is yes. If your name has ever been attached to a piece of firearms legislation as an elected official, you belong in jail. Period. No exceptions. But I wanted to bring that up and direct you guys to go and check out that episode. Cameron, is there anything else you wanted to say about that, just in recapping it? I just wanted to make sure that we actually touched that story on Firearms Friday itself, not just the after show.
Well, haven't had some time to reflect on it. I do think the most important part of that executive order is that it's a signal to everybody that was nervous about Pam Bondi. Look, I'm Pam Bondi's boss, and I'm actually going to direct her to peel back gun control laws, not continue to move them forward. And the other thing is that's literally being done. It essentially freezes any active. It essentially clears the decks of any litigation regarding guns right now. Like, there could be active cases about pistol braces, as an example, and
Right.
that executive order says no, stop pursuing those. They might be about to completely go away, so don't put anybody else in jail over pistol braces. And that's huge, because of course, anytime the government wants to do a thing, the government has to be willing to enforce the thing. And if you're saying, well, we're going to stop enforcing the thing, you're essentially saying the thing is going away. So I'm a big fan of this executive order. I actually, as time has gone on, I think it's good stuff. So anyhow,
and like you said, there's going to be stuff that takes time. Government moves slow, and in a lot of ways, that's preferable. But currently, part of the problem. So usually, the problem is government moves slow because there are checks and balances that are intended to prevent government from taking rash action and making big mistakes. But we've got another thing going on right now where a large swath of the government, that part that we refer to as the deep state, is actively resisting the orders and policy decisions of the president, of Donald Trump. And it's some things are taking more time because the government itself is resisting the executive. For keep in mind, all the J6ers, with a very narrow exception, were pardoned or had their sentences commuted the first day Trump was in office. It's been, we're creeping up on a month here in 6 days, and there are still J6ers who were pardoned. Right? We're not talking about the odd few that may have actually shoved a cop or something. Just your regular old grannies who were arrested in their living room a year after the event. Characters are still sitting in jail in some cases because the police in those precincts are actively resisting orders from their boss, which would be the president. So keep in mind that you take it all with a little grain of salt, because some of this shit just goes slow. All right. Now, this first Firearms Friday DGU comes out of our good friend Be Controversial, who sent it over out of Arkansas. I think it's funny that we pronounce that last S like a W. So, teen who stormed Arkansas airport with AR-style rifle and demanded a plane stopped by heroic armed pilot. I love how they put the word heroic in scare quotes here. Come on, guy. A 15-year-old boy stormed a small regional airport in Arkansas with an AR-style rifle while demanding a plane until he was stopped by a heroic pilot who ran and grabbed his own gun, according to officials. Excuse me. The unidentified teenager entered Signature Aviation, a business at the Texarkana Regional Airport, around 7:30. Salt, Kansas. Tuesday, and approached the front counter flashing the rifle and a handgun, demanding an aircraft and access to the airfield, according to police and airport officials. The teen loaded around to the chamber, sending staff members running to a back office where they locked the door and called police, the airport told CNN. A pilot stopped the teenager after he breached the airfield at the Texarkana Regional Airport. The boy approached the counter at the business and demanded a plane. The boy then left and headed toward the airfield where he was spotted by a local private pilot. The pilot ran and grabbed his own gun from his truck, then confronted the boy and ordered him to the ground, officials said. Now, I gotta ask, you got a lawful firearms carrier, lawful owner, lawful carrier, and he didn't have his weapon on his person. I have to assume that's because the airport says that he can't carry it, to his private plane. And that's a problem. That's a huge problem. Right? Like, okay, 9/11 was a long time ago, but we allowed our government to disarm us for air travel a much longer time before that. And
yeah, go back and watch the original Die Hard. Part of the opening gag of the movie is that John McClane is armed on the plane because it was common for cops on domestic flights to carry their gun on the plane.
Yep.
And man, if you've ever seen Die Hard, sure was a good thing John McClane carried his gun with him.
Right. and hey, if we had not disarmed all of the citizens on the flights, 9/11 wouldn't have happened. Right? I mean, obviously, I'm not saying that's the only factor, but Habibi stands up with a box cutter and Billy Bob puts one through his dome. That's the end of the hijacking. That's now, and okay, there's all kind of other problems that occur if you pierce the skin of the aircraft with a firearm, but hey, that's what frangible ammunition's for. The teen complied and was eventually taken into custody by Texarkana police, who found another shotgun in a vehicle seemingly used by the 15-year-old suspect, the airport said. Boy, that is a tiny little airport. The Texarkana, Arkansas Police Department applauds the heroic act by the local pilot. And that right there, that's a good takeaway. Last week we spent rather a lot of time talking about the dangers of doing the right thing. There are a lot of places where somebody can break into your home, can literally kick in your door with a shotgun in your hand, and you shoot him dead in your foyer because he kicked in the door with a shotgun in his hand, racked the slide, and said, "I'm going to kill you and take all your property." There are places in this country where if you shoot that guy, if you Mozambique that son of a bitch, you're going to spend at least the night in jail. You're going to be arrested. And that firearm that you used to defend your home and your life, you're probably not going to see it again. And if you do, it'll be several years later. So you better have a spare rod somewhere. And instead, we're seeing this more and more often. The police department applauds the heroic act by the local pilot. Right. And that's what should happen. You're the good guy. You do the right thing. Thank you for your service. That's what this pilot apparently, unless there's some extreme mitigating circumstances, I find it very difficult to imagine a mitigating circumstance where the conduct of this 15-year-old boy in some way was justified. But, outside of some extreme justifying mitigating circumstance, then yeah, this guy's a hero. He did the right thing. In fact, I might even go so far as say he's not a hero. He's just a grown man. And this, being prepared to do the right thing and then acting on that, making the right choice at cusp, as Michael Valentine Smith would say, is what it means to be a grown-ass man. The fact that this incident was resolved quickly and peacefully despite the extreme danger presented is highly commendable. The ordeal lasted about 10 minutes, according to the airport director, Paul Merlick. We're very thankful that there were no injuries, no lives lost, but really it was through the actions of this pilot and by the staff at Signature Aviation that their actions saved lives. The teen, who was not from the area, was arrested for aggravated assault, attempted aggravated robbery, and making terroristic threats, the cops say. His motives remain unclear. He was taken to an Arkansas juvenile detention center. See, I almost made the joke by mistake there.
So we talk a lot about how if you're going to draw your firearm, like there's only one reason to do it. You're trying to put the threat down. And we even talk about DOTs, which are dead over there. That's when they die at the hospital. Or DRTs, which are dead right there, which is exactly what it sounds like. They're dead right there. And generally speaking, I'm still going to say that that's the preference. If you're at the point where you need to pull your gun in self-defense, you need to put multiple rounds in the target. That's you eliminate the threat. It's not even necessarily that you're trying to kill another human being. You're trying to eliminate the threat. And if the threat is still moving, it's still a threat. That's kind of how threats work. However, in this case, this pilot has got balls of solid rock. Because just put yourself in his position. You're in a teeny tiny airport. Dude walks in armed to the teeth, like he's LARPing as Master Chief from the Halo series. You don't even have your gun on you. You have to sneak back to your truck, get your gun, then re-engage the target, and you manage to secure the situation without a shot being fired. Man, this guy is cold as ice. You want to talk about somebody that knows how to handle pressure and correctly assess a threat level? This pilot, man, he should never pay for another beer at a bar for the rest of his life.
Exactly.
Because if it were me, I probably would have shot the kid. And I'm not even saying like, oh, I'm such a badass. No, I would have been so scared. I would have said, Jesus Christ, we've got an armed individual trying to steal a fucking plane, which means whatever crime he's committing here is nothing. This is the prelude. The real bad shit's about to happen. And I have to stop the real bad. So the fact that this guy was able to basically get the kid to surrender, just damn. I got to throw up both hands on that one. Just wow.
Yeah, you know what? Here's something the administration should consider. You know what a challenge coin is, right? That thick, oversized metal coin that military leadership hands out. That's you see them in other places, but largely it's supposed to be a military leadership honor thing.
Okay, true story. True story. 1 year for your birthday, I was actually going to buy you a Rush Limbaugh challenge coin as a funny.
Oh man, that would have been fantastic.
But it didn't work out. But yes,
it would be right there above the 240 Bravo.
Anyhow, continue. But do I know what a challenge coin is? Yes.
Yeah. So maybe something the Donald should look into is every police officer with a badge should be carrying a challenge coin to hand out to heroes like this. You arrive on the scene. It's clearly lawful self-defense or defense of others. You have a case of a civilian, of a grown damn man doing the right thing and going above and beyond what is expected of him, even if it is what should be expected of him. Right, like Daniel Penny. Daniel Penny didn't do. It should not be the case that we look at Daniel Penny and say, "Well, this was extraordinary. This was exceptional." No, you should look at Daniel Penny and say, well, yeah, this is what a man does.
Yeah, it's the baseline.
This is right. This is the standard. This is not the high bar of achievement. This is the standard, right? And start handing out challenge coins to those guys instead of freaking court summons.
Yeah, I got to tell you, I stopped an airport hijacking. Like that's a challenge coin that's going to win most challenges. It just is. And Unverified Bear says cops mag dump for a reason. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Okay. So this one comes to us from Cameroon and is a local story.
On a shooting that left a woman hurt in Decatur, police say 3 people have been arrested after shooting a woman while breaking into her home.
It happened Monday morning at Stone and Whitmer streets. Officers say a 22-year-old woman was at home with her children when people broke in. She had a gun herself and told the suspects. That's when police say they shot at her. She fired back and hit one of them. The woman was brought to the hospital. The children weren't hurt, but it doesn't stop here. 2 hours later, officers were called to a home in the area of North and Calhoun. That's where 24-year-old Deontay Stone was found shot in the back. Police say he was one of the suspects in the earlier home invasion. They say he was arrested along with 25-year-old Colton Clark and a 16-year-old. Those 2 have been charged with attempted murder. All 3 are facing home invasion charges.
Oh, okay.
I'm pretty sure that's not a local story, buddy. Pretty sure that's Decatur, Illinois, instead of Decatur, Georgia.
My mistake.
We have a follow-up on a deadly stabbing.
That is the story you sent.
I didn't send that story. I believe the Hammer sent that story.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, when you said Cameroon, I was like, wait, what?
I'm just wrong all over the place. I see what happened though. I saw Decatur and I immediately went to Decatur, Georgia, and it's one that I pulled out of the thread. I thought you had dropped it in. It's okay. We're good. But it is still a good story. Decatur police arrested 3 people they say shot a woman while breaking into her home earlier this week. So she survived, and I'm gonna have to
gunshot wound.
Well, I'm gonna have to say that's the only reason that they said they arrested 3 people. One of them was. Apparently, they said 2 of them are being charged with attempted murder, but all 3 are being charged with home invasion. If she died, almost certainly all 3 of them would be charged with felony murder, which is to say, we've covered that many times on the show before. You and your buddy go to rob a liquor store, and one of you kills the clerk. You're both guilty of murder. Under the law in most states, because it is
because your actions resulted in the murder. Right. Yeah, proximate cause.
So even if you didn't pull the trigger, your buddy did the murder. Sorry, buddy, you did the whole crime. That murder is part of the whole crime. So it's interesting that. I would be interested. They don't have it here, but I would be interested to know how it is that only 2 of the 3. Okay, so 2 of the 3 are being charged with murder, with attempted murder, but not all 3 of them. I guess.
Well, I mean, does Illinois have a?
I guess they're saying that 2 of the 3 fired rounds, even though only one of them shot her.
I mean, that would be my assumption. So again,
like I said, obviously, if she died, they'd all 3 be facing felony murder. It seems odd to me then that they're not all 3 facing something like attempted felony murder.
I don't know that there is.
I'm not sure how that works. That's a fuzzy line that I've never had to explore.
Yeah. Okay. So again, this is a mama bear story.
Savage says somebody has a lawyer. Yup. That's probably it right there.
So this is a mama bear story, though. Like this woman was shot. Like these guys had the drop on her, shot her, and she managed to return fire and run them off. And these were clearly dudes that were engaged in some PLDs, like poor life decisions. Because
you say woman, even with 2 kids, we're talking about a 22-year-old, right? Before she rose to this occasion, like I don't care how mature she was, 22 years old, she was a kid, right? And she just had an experience. She just had one of those experiences it is that threshold on the other side of which you cannot explain to a person who has not crossed it what it means to be on the other side of it. You cannot explain to a person what it is to be a parent. You have to experience that. You cannot explain to a person what it is to have come back from a war. It's something that you have to experience. You cannot understand what it does to you. She was a 22-year-old kid, maybe even struggling with 2 kids. And she just had an experience that for the rest of her life, she gets to say, well, this shit's hard, but I'm not getting shot at.
I'm not getting shot. Yeah. And then having to return fire. Yeah, this woman's kids know they can count on her for life. Now, our mama's such a badass, she could take a round and keep going. Oh, okay. Yeah. Hey, something went wrong. Call mom. She'll figure it out.
Yep.
But of the many things that we've talked about, we've done Firearms Friday long enough now where we even have all these subcategories. You need to bring back the badges, man, because this is a mama bear badge.
I know.
And this is a feminism in action badge. Like, seriously, feminists, if you say you're a feminist and you don't carry a gun, you're a shit feminist. Just FYI. Yep. You want to be equal to men? Well, I promise 138 grains going 900 feet a second are equal to everybody. That is a fact. But yeah, like these guys were bad dudes, and we know they were bad dudes. Like, if it's me, if I get shot at, I'm probably done for the night. I'm probably going to go home and crack a beer and say, you know what? Nah, I'm good. I already literally dodged a bullet today. But not these kids. They kept right on going, and they kept right on going to the point to where one of them was shot in the back later in the night. Like, I could go ahead and make some assumptions about what you were up to where you got shot in the back 2 hours later. Now, I don't need the details. I would like them just to fill in the blanks, but I don't need them. I know what you were doing. So this woman had some bad dudes trying to do bad stuff, and she defended her children. And she defended her children in the only way that she could. Like, there were multiple assailants. Everything about this situation should have ended up with this woman dead. They had every advantage possible on her. And the only reason she even had a fighting chance is because she was armed. And suddenly that mama bear kicked in. She's like, oh, not me and my babies. Nope, that's not how that's going to happen. And according to the details of the story, she even warned them. Like, guys, I have a gun. Get the fuck out. And they opened fire on her. Like, that's...
Yeah. Stryker says, Samuel Jackson in Pulp Fiction knew when to quit. Travolta didn't. Yes. Yes. One of them made it out of that movie alive.
Yes. And one of them kept doing heroin. And
Bear, that's rock solid. Joan Wick.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Do we have any more?
I've got one more, and this one comes with a video, and I'm just going to play it.
Oh my!
So he seen how.
Oh, there doesn't appear to be any audio with this.
I'm hearing it.
Oh, are you? Weird. I'm not.
So he seen how it. So he seen how it.
Okay. So
The Mama Yaga.
nice. So quick thinking guard returns fire on gunman outside busy nightclub. This was in Chattanooga. Oh, it looks like this was January 26th. The article is from yesterday, but a security guard at Chattanooga nightclub is being hailed as a hero after stopping an attempted mass shooter in the club's parking lot. The dramatic confrontation unfolded just before 2 a.m. on January 26th outside Dream nightclub when a gunman opened fire on a group of people. Surveillance footage captured the harrowing moment as the gunman, later identified as a 24-year-old man, began shooting. You know what? It's interesting. This comes from Concealed Nation, so maybe not so much, but it just says 24-year-old man. You know, if it was a 24-year-old white man, that would be the story. Began shooting recklessly into the crowd, reacting immediately. A club security guard wearing body armor stepped in front of fleeing patrons, raised his firearm, and returned fire with remarkable precision. I don't know if I would say remarkable precision because the story didn't start with DRT, but the return fire with remarkable precision is you're using the radio in your left hand and you put down 3 bad guys with the M16 in your right hand. That's remarkable precision.
I don't know. I'd still say
hit anything you weren't trying to kill that's the standard.
I don't know. I'd still say that it's pretty remarkable because this is at a nightclub, which means there were a whole lot of people that this security guard did not want to accidentally shoot. Like that's at 2 a.m. It's dark. It's an extremely chaotic environment. I mean, you talk about things going about as bad wrong as they can go wrong. You ever play one of those? You ever play one of those video games where you can't accidentally shoot one of the hostages or you lose the round? This was like that, except in real life.
Have you ever tried to shoot the red chicken?
You ever the what?
You ever tried to shoot the red chicken?
I don't know what the red chicken is.
Oh, it's when you have a field with several hundred chickens in it, and a few of them are red. Like they've been painted. They've had their feathers painted red, so that you can try to shoot the red chicken.
Okay.
The one in the crowd.
Okay.
Because they're all moving around.
I know how chickens do.
It's a military training exercise. You shoot the red one.
Okay.
Because turbans are red. So anyway, at least those turbans are red. Okay, fair enough. Kind of like the shooter in the church and the parishioner stood up and put around in his dome. And
the only shot he could have made.
Yeah, you had all these experts. Oh no, you always shoot center mass. You're supposed to always shoot center mass. Yes.
Usually, yes. Yeah, absolutely.
You always go for center mass in good conditions and perfect circumstances when that's an available option. Absolutely, you go for center mass. When that's not an option, you go for what you can get. Right? You know, you got a bad guy. For example, charging at you with a knife in her hand after clearly stabbing some other black teenagers in front of you. Then no, you don't try to shoot her in the leg in a ill-guided attempt to not have her die on the scene as a result of her poor life choices. Center mass, but you take the shot that's available.
Well, in any event, this guy gets a break no matter what because he put his body in between the bullets and the patrons of the club. That's the second he did that, as far as I'm concerned.
Yes, absolutely.
Like that's nope. Dude's a badass.
He was more qualified than the Parkland resource officer.
Right.
If
I go inside, I might get shot. Yeah, well, yeah, you're right.
There's another piece. There's another piece of the story that's worth commenting on. This happened at a nightclub, and the security guard at the nightclub is wearing body armor, and carrying an AR. So, sweetheart, it's absolutely the bad guy's fault, and not at all your fault for putting on that skirt that's too short and drinking too much before you walk down the alley. Yes, the bad guy's the bad guy, but we know where bad guys are, so don't go there.
Yeah. If I ever go to a club and there's and the bouncers wearing plates, I'm probably leaving that club.
We've got merch. Thank you, dear. I apologize for that distraction. I was running out of coffee, and it was a good opportunity to present my hot young wife wearing some of our merch, which you can get through the t-shirt shop if you go to brushfiremind.com.
Anyhow, buddy, that's I'm gonna have to call it about there. That was fun. So can I have the floor for just a moment, please?
Oh, absolutely.
That's yeah. Whoops. Okay. Now, folks, I am going to have to take a temporary hiatus. Nothing has gone wrong. Things are actually going right. I have earned more responsibility at work, and eventually I will be able to return. But for the foreseeable future, at least the next few weeks, I am going to be unavailable in the morning because I am going to be meeting my new responsibilities. So when I'm not here and you say, hey, where's Cameron? Well, Cameron's out making money. Other people have decided that I have earned some opportunities, and I need money, like a lot. So I'm going to go take those opportunities. But I'm still with you all in spirit. And so my final name for the show that I'm going to be on for the foreseeable future is Audit the Fed, because yeah, Audit the Fed. Just putting that out there. If there's anything I'd like to end on, that's going to be it.
All right.
That's all. Just wanted to let everybody know.
Well,
Safety
brother,
brief, by the way.
We will miss you while you're on hiatus, and for the audience out there who does miss Cameron while he's on hiatus and doing the business, if all of the almost 900 subs on YouTube or Rumble or X, if all of you go and hit that buymeacoffee.com/brushfiremind for $5 a month, I'll make Cameron quit his job.
Yeah. That would be phenomenal. Oh, also, safety brief, guys, gentlemen, listen to me, okay? Even if your wife says she doesn't want flowers, she wants flowers. Okay? You can go to Kroger right now, right this very second, and for less than $20, you can indeed get flowers. And trust me when I tell you, bring her flowers. Because hard truth of life, if you don't bring her flowers, eventually somebody else will.
Yeah. And, you might even be clever about it. You might have a girl that bakes and you bring her a box of flowers.
Get back in the kitchen.
Have you ever seen the movie Stranger Than Fiction, Cameron?
No.
Oh, it's the only thing Will Ferrell has done that's legitimately a good film. And that pun is from that film, and it's so just on point.
Okay, so it's not just me. You also think Elf is overrated.
I think everything Will Ferrell has ever done is I think overrated is generous, except for there are a few films where he's a background, or he's not the main guy, right? So he's one of the sidekicks. Like Old School was excellent, and he's not the main character. But Stranger Than Fiction is not a slapstick comedy. It's funny, but it's a romance. It's a romantic film, and it's a brilliant piece of work.
Megan, hey, look, Megan says she doesn't want flowers. She wants tacos. If you buy your wife tacos, you're still buying your wife flowers because some of the seasonings that go in those tacos come from flowers. So
yeah, and my hot young wife, who y'all all just saw a moment ago, she says sometimes she wants a pack of bullets.
Well, hey, hollow points, they kind of look like flowers when they compact on a target. So we're still buying flowers.
Actually, I'm sure you guys have seen these online somewhere, but there are a couple of companies out there that make these are great. These are great. You've seen these before, right, Cameron?
Wanna bang. That's if a woman gave me that, I'd probably propose on the spot. Like they would just
yeah.
Well, when do you want to get now? We're going to the courthouse. I promise there's a pawn shop around the corner. I will get you a ring. Like
my cousin, I've got a cousin with a pawn shop and a cousin who's a judge. We'll just have them meet us at Waffle House. We'll have a stack of waffles. We'll do it fancy. We'll get the pecan waffles for the wedding cake.
So everybody, please have a good weekend. I will.
Yeah, guys, y'all take care of yourselves. Thanks for watching this morning. Y'all be safe out there. Hug your wives, kiss your kids. We love you, and we will see you on Monday. At least I will. Cameron's going to be busy as a squirrel trying to shit a pineapple.